Run, Yuri, run!
Even through the roar of the crowd, I heard my stepsister's voice as she rooted for me. I kicked into high gear and fully sprinted as fast as my legs could go. I was speeding along the track so hard I couldn't even feel my legs moving anymore. I needed to win. If not for me, then for her. Shizuka has always been there for me no matter what. And even though I'm just adopted, she always had my back. With that thought in mind, I flew through the track until I felt that familiar gliding sensation of the ribbon tensing against my belly and finally breaking as I crossed the finish line. The crowd erupted. People screamed my name. Yuri! 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 Before I could even look around at the bleachers to find where my sister was, she ran into me and hugged me tighter than a bear would. In that moment, I understood. If Shizuka was with me, I can do anything. Hi everyone, my name's Yuri. I met Shizuka when I was still very little. My mom worked for her father as a secretary. When mom died, Shizuka's father adopted me out of the kindness of his heart. I had nowhere else to go, no family I could turn to, so Yamamoto-sama took me in and raised me as his own. He was a kind man, but a tough man. He was very hard to impress, and it was easy to displease and disappoint him. He was especially tough on me because I was meant to inherit his company. While it's true that Shizuka is 5 years older than me, in our traditional culture, old families will usually only choose a male heir, even if they have to adopt a stranger. I never got any feeling of jealousy or resentment from Shizuka, though. In fact, she was my biggest supporter. In Yamamoto-san's absence, often as it was that he would be away on business trips, Shishi, as I affectionately called her, basically raised me. She would tell me how to act, what to do, and what to say so that I may earn our father's trust and impress him. She taught me every little thing about our family business. She even tutored me so that I'd do well in school. When some boys began bullying me, she made them all pay. One day I was out riding my bike at a park. Out of nowhere, these two huge boys from my class appeared from behind the tree and began attacking me. One of them kept trying to get in front of me so I would stop, and the other was swinging a stick at my bike's wheels, trying to trip me and make me fall. Adopted! Adopted! They both chanted as they tried to get me to fall off my bike. At that exact instant, my sister was jogging by and saw the whole thing. She immediately ran towards us like a crazed, angry rhino. She picked both of them up by their shirt collars, one in each hand, holding them about a foot off the ground.
You mess with my brother again, and I'll bash both of your heads in with your own fists. You understand me?
She dropped them both. They fell, then quickly got up and ran away. They never bothered me again. In fact, nobody else ever did. They were all afraid of my stepsister. She may be shorter than most kids at school, but she was impossibly strong. I can't really tell if it's the years of judo training or the fact that she eats like a sumo wrestler. Probably both. Anyway, life was smooth sailing for a while. I got into sports, figured out I was really good at sprinting. And so I joined the track team. I did pretty well my first year, especially since Shizuka was always there to cheer me on. And after a while, I became quite popular. There were even a few girls who had a crush on me. But then I met her. Ayaka made my heart beat faster the moment I saw her. She was the new track team manager, and I knew as soon as she shook my hand for the first time, I knew I wanted to be with her. So I did my best to woo her and court her. I brought her a flower I would pick up on the way to school every day. I walked her home even though our car was waiting for me every afternoon. I kept my teammates in line to give her an easier time as our manager, and I relentlessly tried to ask her out. Even when she kept saying no, I didn't stop. Until one day, she finally said yes. And boy, was I glad I didn't quit even when it got hard, because Ayaka asked me to be her boyfriend after that date. For months, I chased after her, and after going on a date with me, she liked me so much that she made the move. I couldn't believe my luck. I was so proud to finally have a girlfriend. And of course, the first person I shared the news with was the one person in my life whose approval I valued the most. I introduced Ayaka to my sister, and everything went smoothly. They both seemed to get along so well. Ayaka smiled and complimented Shizuka, and Shizuka did the same for Ayaka. It seemed like the two really liked each other during dinner, and I couldn't be happier to know that the most important girls in my life were getting along. That was, until Ayaka left and went home. My sister turned to me, and with the ugliest expression she could manage, she spit on the bowl Ayaka was eating out of.
I'm telling you, that girl's trouble.
What? What are you talking about? I thought you liked her.
Like her? Please. I like her about as much as I like cockroaches.
My sister hated cockroaches. No, it's not like the way a regular person might hate a cockroach. She hated them with a passion. She's poured a significant amount of her own money into developing technology that will eradicate all cockroaches on the planet. That's how much she hated them. And if that's how she felt about my new girlfriend, I feared for Ayaka. I'd never really seen her act that way before around me, or anyone for that matter. From being her usual kind, gentle self, whenever she heard Ayaka's name, she'd turn into a bit of a beast. Her mood would sour, and suddenly she'd look like a scary, threatening version of herself. Once, when we were grocery shopping together and a mom called her child towards her, Shizuka lost her mind.
Ayaka, come here. Your daddy's waiting for us in the queue.
Shizuka started to shake in anger.
I hate that name! Why would you name your stupid, ugly child that name? You change your name right now!
And then she turned to me.
Why did you have to date an ugly, stupid girl with that name? Am I not good enough for you?
Some of my friends told me Shizuka was probably jealous of my girlfriend, and I totally dismissed them. I told them it wasn't that at all. But that day I finally saw what was really happening. Shizuka flipped into being a scary yandere suddenly because of Ayaka. And I was so blind. All those years I never realized my stepsister was in love with me. But I couldn't very well abandon my girlfriend for her. She's still my sister after all, and I just wouldn't feel right dating her. Especially not with our father around. He definitely disowned both of us. I'm certain father would rather give his company away to one of his employees than watch his own daughter marry his adopted son. So, after I graduated, I started working for my dad. And when I got my first promotion, I immediately proposed to Ayaka. She said yes, of course. Unfortunately, soon after, our dad passed away. I think he was just waiting for me to be able to take over his company and find myself a woman to marry. It was a very sad day for us and for the company. But soon after, I was named successor and inherited everything that was in our father's name. But then the troubles began. At every turn, Shizuka tried to stop our wedding. She even threatened to sue me. She said that if I went through with marrying Ayaka, she would challenge my right to inherit father's assets. She would find the best lawyers in the country and make them take away my rights as the heir. She would take away my company, my inheritance, and my last name. But I loved Ayaka. I loved her and I would do anything for her. So I called my sister's bluff. I married the woman I love. Despite her threats, and even if I lost everything I had. We moved out of the mansion as soon as we were married. And in her anger and jealousy, my sister took everything away from me. Ayaka and I lived a very humble life. We managed to find a small apartment to rent. I worked as a door-to-door salesman for educational books. And Ayaka worked as a shop attendant at a nearby convenience store. Before long, we had a child. I named him Haru, as he was born in spring. Not long after, the birth of my son brought our family a new spring of peace. My sister visited us in our tiny apartment. She confessed to have made mistakes based on her misguided feelings. She confessed that she loved me from the start, but that it was wrong of her to take away everything I worked for just because of jealousy. I hugged her and forgave her. And even though she hurt me and my wife, she was still my beloved sister. She gave me back the keys to our mansion, and together, we ran our dad's company. I was happy to share the burden with her. After all, without Shizuka, I wouldn't be able to accomplish many of the things I did.